All right, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Happy Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday night. This is VividLife TV with yours truly, Alex August, right here, broadcasting live across what I like to call the VividLife 10K. We are trying to get to 10,000 possible viewers across all social media. This is live right now. We are currently live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter/X, or whatever Elon Musk is calling it these days, as well as YouTube. So you're probably tuned in from my website, alexaugust.com. Either way, I'm thanking y'all for joining me tonight. We have quite a bit of a dope show coming up. And if this is your first time tuning in with us, we want y'all to be part of the conversation. So if you can, and if you will, please go ahead and drop yourself in that chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Check in with us, hit the like button, hit the share button, let somebody know that you're tuned into this right now. We're trying to get those numbers up. And obviously, as we bring on guests every single one of these shows and every one of these streams, we want to make sure that we just have a conversation and an opportunity to really give y'all a show, as well as get you guys engaged. So throughout the night, as we're live with my guest, Cherie, be sure to chime in, right? We want to hear from y'all. We want to know what you guys think. Be part of the conversation. Be engaged with us. That's really the joy and the dopeness of doing this live like this, right? It's better than reels. There is a little bit of instant gratification when we get an opportunity to see you all chatting and chiming in with us. Big shout out to Courtney Sykes. Looking forward to tonight's conversation. I am too, yo. I am too. So let's actually get right into it. My next guest is a good friend. I was thinking about this and did a quick vlog for my YouTube as I was heading in. I just got off the road. But Cherie and I met at a event called Love Jones Thursday that I was hosting in Tampa. And I tell people all the time, whenever I'm hosting events, whenever I'm on a mic, I am always kind of moving around the room. I'm talking to people, shaking hands, just making sure everybody in the vibe is having a good time. And it's funny because literally that's how Cherie and I met. And since then, we've been real cool. We've been kicking it. We have really, really in-depth conversations almost all the time. She's picking my brain. I'm picking her brain. And so the cool piece about tonight's stream is that essentially y'all get to be a fly on the wall on conversations about that. So without further ado, we're going to be bringing Cherie on to be our guest right here on Vivid Life TV. Cherie, what's good with you? Hold on, I want to make sure I can hear you.
See, look, I already started out.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's cool. I know it's a lot of it's a lot of technology on this side of the stream. So don't panic. Don't worry about how much goes into it. I hope everybody doesn't think this is not Instagram Live. Like it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Oh, I had to create a whole account for us to do this.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to, 2024 for me is about what I like to call my theme, and we're going to talk about this probably all night, but my theme for 2024 and is spectacle, right? It's like, how every year you're like, man, we're going to do it big. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do it big. Like for me, I'm like, to say that you're going to do it big isn't enough. I wanted an actual word I can hang on to. And the word that I chose for this year is spectacle. So these streams are part of the spectacle. I wanted to do it bigger than Instagram Live. I wanted to do it more, more exaggerated, more, just bigger. So yeah, spectacle. And unfortunately for us, that means we had to check in at 8 o'clock to make sure we could do a rundown of all the technical aspects. But yeah, what is your word for 2024?
My word. I'm probably wearing it, right?
That is true. That is true.
Last year we were lit.
And this
We
year
were
we
living in
stand
peace
lit.
last year. Guess what? We gonna keep that same energy.
Straight up, straight up. How was your I almost said your Christmas break, but I don't know if we're that's not the applicable word. But how was your New Year's?
What did New Year's? You know what I did for New Year's?
You laid down. You slept.
No,
Okay.
no, that's what I thought I was gonna do. You know what I did? Something that I like never do. And I haven't done probably since I was down here last in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I went out. DJ Boweezy, Jazzy Jeff, and oh, he went to fam. I can't remember his name right now. Three great DJs, I feel like, in the state of
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah.
Text my friends. I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm about to get a bottle of champagne and sit on the couch and chill like I did the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But hit up my girls, and one of them, Valeria, was like, "Yep, let's go." And then when we purchased the tickets, we realized where the party was. Ybor,
Where was the party?
Ybor City.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw that. I saw you posted that on online.
I didn't post anything. I haven't been online except to promote this.
Well, I saw something,
From
a
someone
photo of
else.
you,
Just
Valeria,
no,
and
yeah,
a DJ.
that always happens. I saw you on such and such page. Da, da, da. Who's posting me? I don't post that much. But nonetheless,
Always
like we
glitchy.
went to eat the party in Ybor, and it was like on the edge of
Yeah.
Ybor. We took a Uber. We wanted to stay safe, of course. We got there early. Utilized, our open bar, and it was cool. It was nice. It was a mixed crowd. I would say
Mm-hmm.
there was one guy in there. He was dancing the entire night, like what are you doing? The whole entire night. And he thought he was the he thought he had
The
it
life
going
of
on.
the life of the
He
party.
had the
But you
juice.
know what? I'll be honest, and if you're tuned in tonight, let us know. Let us know. But like,
Courtney said.
there was something about this year that just made me feel like I didn't want to go out. Like I did not want. It's crazy. I just went from like talking about spectacle to literally talking about like I would have been, and you know me very well. Like I am not one to be like I'm cool with just sitting on the couch and just watching the ball drop. Like there was just something about this year that was like I don't really want to go out. Like was that the same for y'all? If you're tuned in right now, drop it in the chat. Were you feeling going out, or were you team stay in? Did you do the bottle of champagne? Like I saw so many people just posting about like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going out. I'm staying in. Like I don't need much of anything. And I ended up going to the Hard Rock in South Florida. And I was probably there for all of 9 minutes. I walked in with intentions of, I don't know if y'all know, but they now have live crap tables. So I had all the intentions of going in and maybe, let me just spend a little bit and gamble. Walked in, saw the crowd. Yeah, we can go. Yeah, we can just go. And I ended up not doing
It's not safe.
anything at all. Yeah, it didn't. And that too, it didn't really feel very safe. Let's see what we got in the chat real quick. We got Courtney Sykes. Oh, our chat's a little.
He said not knowing who is posting me. Look, I
Not
don't
who is
know.
posting.
I try to get out the way of the camera most of the time, but y'all just, whatever. My likeness sells. I don't know, but what. It's cool. Faith texted me. She was like, "You look good, friend." I'm like, "Girl, how did you even know I went anywhere?" She said, "Oh, I see you in the back of Tiara's video." I ran into Tiara out there.
I think you not over. You underestimate how many non-camera shy / content creator / mini vlog posting friends you have. I think you very much underestimate how many people you have that fit into that criteria. Team stay in this time. I just wasn't feeling it, and I think part of it was a little bit of the prices.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I think, go ahead.
It was. I'm not doing it again. First of all, I'll say that. This holiday season, I was in my feelings and all, it was like the end of the year. I'm down in Miami. I came home and I was like, where's my people? Like, I'm here. It was like crickets. And I was like, man, this is trash. So, shout out to Valeria for being the friend that, went into the new year with me. It was cool. We had a good time, and I really don't need to do it again. We can swap back places. I'm cool with that.
I had I not gone out every night for Art Basel, I probably would have wanted to be outside more for New Year's. But after Art Basel, I was just like, you know what? There really ain't nothing out there. Like the excitement that I be feeling like, oh man, it's gonna be a good time. Tonight's gonna be a good night. No, it don't be happening like that. So I was just like, I'm cool with my 3 elements that I'm always okay with: good people, good vibes, food, and hookah. My what is it? Oh, I got the right person to ask. What are the hierarchy?
Don't do this right now. It is too early in the night. Why? Seriously?
The hierarchy of needs. What is it?
Really? Maslow.
It's Maslow.
I met with a patient today who started talking to me about this, and it was accurate. Although it was a very psychotic individual. I was like, you know what you're talking about, actually.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
I remember being in sales and somebody brought that up, and I was like, where are you going with what you're talking about? Why are we talking about Maslow right now? But yes, my Maslow hierarchy of needs is good people, good vibes. Wait, I guess no. Hookah, food, and people.
You said
like people at the top.
Food though, like that's not.
Wait, isn't the base the least important? Wait, how does this work?
Top.
Oh Lord, don't do that.
This is bad.
Hookah's the least important, whichever one it goes. Food, because I need sustenance, and then people. Like the people are always going to make it the best time, the good times. So
yes,
food
comes first. Thank you, Eric. Golly.
Okay.
And everybody who knows me know, like if I'm hungry,
I can't make decisions.
No good. I can't make any decisions. Don't ask me to do anything. I need to eat first.
People are always talking about, my knees hurt, my back hurts, and all of the signs of like them knowing that they're getting older. And for me, I'm just like, I know I'm getting older because I can't make decisions while I'm hungry. Right. Like I get frustrated. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Why are you asking me questions and all that kind of stuff? So I for y'all that are saying food first, you're right. But also I guess that makes sense. I was gonna say I could eat alone and I can do hookah alone, but I think the cherry on top is the people. So
we got you.
Physiological needs are the foundation. Listen, y'all are getting really
well. Okay, to be fair, I brought up. These are the people saying a lot of this right here, right now, are clinicians. So don't mind.
So we've gotten very niche in the comments today in the chat.
Yeah.
But listen, I love the energy so far. Let's keep that going. We got a whole lot to talk about. Everything from, we'll just keep conversation kind of regular like this. And the one thing that I know you're not going to do that I'm always going to encourage people who get on here is let's keep it informal. Let's keep it just very like chat and just vibe. Like I mentioned, everyone who's tuned in right now, we got quite a bit of people who are tuned in from Twitch, from YouTube, from Twitter X, whatever it's called. But they are flies on the wall as we have to carry on these conversations. So let's keep things going. We talked about New Year's a little earlier and what you did, but let's talk about the new year as it stands. We are officially day 3 out of 366. It is a leap year this year, so we do get an extra day. And my question of the night that I want to ask to you, Cherie, and to everyone else that's also in the chat is, what are you honestly trying to do differently in 2024? Tonight's theme is act like we've been here before. So what do you feel like is the number one thing that you're trying to do differently this year?
Oh, differently. God, I mean, I probably would have said be on time last year. I think I did a pretty good job of that this year. Let me see. I think be more disciplined.
Okay.
I feel like when I have ideas, I don't know, I think they kind of bounce all over the place. And I need to focus a little bit better. So I think creating some more discipline. So like I started going to the gym more last year, but I don't really have a set routine. I literally was just talking with somebody before this about days of rest. Like I don't have that built in right now to my work. I just like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym. I haven't gone in 2 days. I'm gonna go to the gym, and that just
Yeah. I think discipline. I want to say discipline, but I want to find another word because I feel like discipline is, for me, it's a little broad. Like I am Google calendared out. Right? I have my Google Calendar. I have spreadsheets. I have the budget sheet that I do all of my bills on. I have so much that I like already feel like I have in place that seems to be discipline to me already. And of course, discipline could also be, being more structured. And like Eric says here in the comments, more of the consistency of being disciplined. But I think that like I want to shrink down my decision-making time. I feel like I take long to make decisions. And the perfect example is, we're talking about this off air, but like my birthday's next week, right? So here I was like, oh, what'd be really dope for me to do for my birthday? I should do a photo shoot. Like I need photos for this year, right? And y'all know that I'm always going to plug in Peerspace. So I'm in South Florida. There are hundreds of locations for Peerspace in South Florida. And like, I could not find the place. Like I couldn't find the place that had the pizzazz. I couldn't find the place that had the price I wanted. And before you know it, it was like Monday and I was leaving today. So it's just like I finally did book a location, but they were just like, honestly, we're not responding. So they never ended up responding. So I ended up not doing my photo shoot. And it's just like, to start the year off with that, I was just like, yo, this is so frustrating because this is literally what I said I was going to stop doing. And I'm starting the year off with these like slow processes to decisions. So I think for me, it's definitely just being faster at making decisions.
Because when did I first ask you? I told you I'm going to be in town your birthday weekend. It was like probably like 2 weeks ago. Was this before Christmas?
It was probably Art Basel.
Yeah.
So a month.
I'm not going to give you too hard of a time about this though, because I do the same thing, which is why when you said it, I was like, like this, I take forever to make a decision. I mean,
I hate it.
Yeah, I take forever to make decisions. Like when it's something particularly important to me, like just we'll get there. We'll get into it.
Yeah. And sometimes I give myself a little bit of grace. And if y'all are in the chat right now feeling the same way, give yourself a little bit of grace. Because I do feel like sometimes we're overloaded with decision factors. Like obviously, depending on what it is, right? You think about price maybe first, right? So price is a factor. and then like all of these other things. And then I don't know, sometimes I just feel like we're bombarded with so many different ways to make decisions that it's just like you start tying your shoes together and you just get, overwhelmed. But for me, I'm like, this year, if I know I want to do something, then that should already reduce a lot of the, like, if you know you want to do something, does the price really matter? Because you know you want to do it. So looking for a bargain is like, does the price matter if you know you want to do something?
Too many options is not always a good thing.
Say that again?
I said too many options is not always a good thing.
It is almost never a good thing. Like, it's never a good thing. I can't, I'm at the point where I'm like, if you, I 3 options is like the perfect situation for me. A, B, C, that's cool. You know what I mean? You have, just thinking about other tiers and stuff like that. You have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. You want a Toyota? Do you want a Yaris, a Corolla, or a Camry? Do you want a Corolla, a Camry? A Toyota Yaris, the little.
You should have said Honda at least at minimum. Like,
there's nothing smaller than a Civic though. So okay, that is a good example. Do you want a Civic or do you want an Accord? Boom, and just leave it at that. When it becomes Yaris, Corolla, Camry, Avalon.
But you would never get that far. First of all, you should never get that far if you're talking about a vehicle. This is part of the problem right here. What? You named 2 cars that last a long time. Why are you going past that?
I don't know. Like, listen, I know me. Do you see what car I drive? Have you ever seen one of those cars on a lot?
When you bought it, I didn't understand.
Like,
who drives a Buick?
Who drives a Buick convertible? Every time someone sees my car, they're like, I didn't know Buick had convertibles. I'm like,
well, and every time you pull up and you're letting the top up, I'm like, his ego is probably outside the car right
now. Nah. I try to be subtle with it. I try to be subtle with it. But yeah, so for you, you say discipline.
Yeah, I like I said, I think I need to be a little bit more disciplined in how, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty organized person, but I don't know. The last year just was chaotic and stuff was all over the place. And, focusing on one thing, even though it didn't appear to be that way, especially as my business was growing. There were plenty of times, like just my sleep schedule, stuff like that.
Every time I meet with a trainer or I talk to anyone in fitness, they're just like, oh yeah, cool. All right. They're like, what's your sleep schedule like? I'm like, don't ask me that. That's a personal question.
When I talk to people about sleep hygiene, I'm no better. Trust me.
What is the conversation around sleep hygiene? How let's go surface as possible, but what is the first thing you talk to people about when it comes to sleep hygiene? This is gonna make me feel bad. I know it is.
I mean, what time are you aiming to go to bed? What are you doing before bed? What's the very last thing that you do before you roll over on your cold pillow? Because most people like cold pillows, right?
Is it you asking?
It's like a role play now. Come on.
I think I probably would say I put on like a movie. Like I'll put on a movie, lay down, and probably by like 20 minutes into the movie, I fall asleep.
What kind of movie though?
Put
on Endgame? I mean, what'd you put on? Like, was it Doctor Strange? Anything Marvel, you're not going straight to sleep.
No, I'm tapping out. Like usually 7 minutes into the movie, like it'd be like directed by, and I'm already out. Like I'm gone. But and y'all there's a lot of clinicians in here.
Don't be afraid.
I'm a little concerned about.
Don't mind that.
I watch horror movies at night. Like I go to sleep and I'll put on,
I'm not gonna make any assumptions about anything.
Paranormal Activity, or something like that. Which I know there was recently a study about like people who watch murder and crime documentaries before sleep, and that wasn't normal. So I don't know if like that's not good or whatever, but I watch a nice horror flick before.
Are you
before
scrolling
bed.
on Instagram and responding to emails, sending emails, putting
Nah,
stuff on the
nah.
calendar?
So I've gotten to I've gotten to the point. I've gotten to the point where I can avoid Instagram at night. Like Instagram to me is not like, I don't doom scroll like that anymore. I find that I'm more on Twitter at nighttime, but then after like letting off maybe 3 tweets, I'm like, all right, I'm good for the rest of the night, and then I'm done at that point. So it's like a little bit of that, but usually I'm just looking for something to watch. Like I'm looking for a movie. I'm looking through Netflix, Disney Plus, Max, the whole repertoire of streaming services that all of us have too many options for. Talking about too many
So
options,
how many
and then
so how many hours of sleep are you trying to get? That's another, like, what is your aim?
all right. So my bedtime is 12:50.
That didn't answer the
My
question at all. That
huh?
didn't answer the question at all.
Wait, I tell you, my bedtime is 12:50, and I wake up. My goal to wake up is 6:15. So about somewhere between like 5 and 45 minutes, close to 6 hours.
And do you feel rested with that amount of sleep?
Yeah. Now let me
You
ask
said
you this
that
question.
quickly.
How important it, like, when you ask the question, do you feel rested? What is that question asking? Like what if I said 3 hours and I'm like, yeah, but I feel very well rested? Like, does that change? Like,
It could.
you know what I mean?
Could
Like,
easily change the next question I ask. You feel rested after 3 hours? I mean, what happens when you don't get sleep? What happens to the brain? I read a post you wrote. This was in regards to mental health, actually,
let's go
back
into it.
in October, and you wrote about what the impact of alcohol, no sleep, all of these things. No sleep alone is terrible by
It
itself,
is.
right?
It
So
is.
think about that. 3 hours of sleep. You get 3 hours of sleep 7 days a week. That's how many hours?
21 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
21 hours of sleep across 24 times
I
5.
don't know about.
No, it's funny because I did see that you liked that post, and I was like, how did you find
I
this? But
because I told you I got on social media to promote this, and I was trying to figure something out, and I came across this, and it, of course, I was drawn to it. It said something about mental health. I was like, what did Alex say? And it was a long post, and I was like, yeah,
it was there on
and
post.
I liked it because I wanted to come back to it at some point. There was a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That moment
Okay.
wasn't necessarily
Okay.
right now, but it came up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so just to clear up, I do not get 3 hours of sleep 5 days a week. I get between like 7 and 8, especially right now during this little break. So that could be me going to sleep at 3 and then waking up at like 9:45. Don't judge me, everyone, in the comments. Okay. There have been days that I have woken up at 9:45. It's not my best work. Okay. But it's the break, and I'm relaxed. So yeah, usually like I said, it's 12:50 to 5:15. And I also find that usually after 5.5 hours, I'm gonna wake up automatically anyway. Like um, but I have been doing the whole, like, I'm trying to do the not having the phone in the room thing.
Mm.
I have a sunset alarm clock. I don't know if y'all are familiar with how those work. They are pretty effective.
Mm.
But I'm trying to, like, I know that sleep is, and maybe it's not just me, not that it has to be a collective thing, but like, I know for sure sleep is like my weakness. That's the one area of my life that, like, it could always, 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 always get better.
I think it also depends on like what you do, like, for a living. Like
Yeah.
certain times a day for sleeping work for certain people, depending on the what's the word I'm looking for? I lost it. The activities and things that they're doing throughout the day to be productive.
Yeah.
There's times a day where it's just more effective, right? So how
Yeah.
do you kind of alter that?
Yeah. By the way, you're using your therapist voice on me right now. Just to let you know.
This is natural. I don't
you know,
stop.
you're using. I felt like I'm like she's gonna pull out the. But yeah,
Don't do that to me.
I typically function on 4 to 6. I'm up. Yeah, and you know the one thing that I will say about like the point you just mentioned about like the lifestyle we live is like I've worked in sales for going on 10 years. See, Dalika said
Everybody can grab.
you were definitely giving me
No, and she's the listen, she's the one I say it to the most. Don't stop putting me in the box.
It got real session sounding in here. I'm like, hey, I'm the host of this stream, bro. Like this is
right now in this very moment. I don't think that I can easily acknowledge that, but when I go back and watch this,
you're gonna hear it.
I'll let you know. You could post about it if you want. Cherie said after she went back in love.
Yes, you were definitely on that level. Caffeine. I've worked in sales for 10 years. I've been, a creative entrepreneur for 10 years. I've also been a double lifer, right? An entrepreneur and a 9-to-5er. Granted, I'm not 24 anymore, but like caffeine is part of life. And all of my friends, like Paul says it all the time. He's just like, oh, bro, he got to stop to get a coffee. And so it's, what I mean? It's part of life. And I'm also trying to cut back. And I wonder sometimes how many people are like that too. Like how many people are still drinking iced coffees at 7 o'clock at night, not because they need an iced coffee, but just because like coffee is life, you know what I mean? Or, people who it's well within like people who still drink coffee after dinner, you know what I mean? Like they'll eat the dinner and then do you want a dessert? No, I'll take a coffee. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? I never understood it. All of my friends who drink coffee, and I'm like, why are you getting a coffee at 6? What is the purpose?
We just like coffee.
I don't understand.
I like coffee. Like I like it.
I don't like coffee, so I don't. I have coffee maybe once a quarter.
Wow.
I went to Starbucks because I got a gift card at work. And I got a hot chocolate from Starbucks.
You went to Starbucks and paid $5 for a hot chocolate? I know it was $5.
It was $5, but I wasn't like, I'm not going to Starbucks on a regular. I could have gone around the corner across the street and got cafecito for much less.
You could have went to Circle K.
Gift card, so I used it.
You could have went to Circle K.
I don't even know if I said that right, but it was at one of the Cuban restaurants.
Cafecito. Yeah, you went to Starbucks for come on.
I mean, I could have bought a cake pop.
By the way, we're not supporting.
Oh, sad.
They all on crack. Yo, like you know how hard it is to be the only coffee drinking friend in the group?
The non-coffee drinking friend, though. Let's switch places because
you know how hard that is? Caffeine doesn't have an effect on my sleep. I can drink a deadly Coke. Drink a deadly
That
Coke?
Sounds, I don't know. She might need to rephrase that.
A deadly Coke?
What?
What are you trying to say?
What's a deadly Coke?
Is that supposed to be a diet Coke or a deadly Coke? Is that?
See, I'm with my cuz here. She said, get the refresher and spike it. I can do that every now and then. Wait, what are we spiking it with?
Yeah. Y'all, this has gone.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Hold on.
This has gone very. People say Coke is bad for you. Yeah, the YouTube moderators are about to have fun with that statement right there.
Yeah, that's y'all in the comments. We didn't go there.
I don't drink soda, but I don't drink soda because soda is very high in sugar, and I drink my coffee
My friends are absolutely
Dr. Umar Johnson Black, okay?
tequila. In the middle of the day, we
See,
talking about like,
guys,
let's back up.
let's all the way back up. We were talking about sleep, and now we're talking about spiking a refresher with tequila.
Oh my God.
Shout out to the millions of Americans who I know drink on the job. I feel like if you were to ask me a number in America, a number of people who drink on the job, and I know to Shanitra, I'm not saying you do that. I'm just it just popped in my mind because I'm thinking about the number one thing, and this goes into my whole 2024 too, is stress, right? I kind of want to do my best to live a very stress-less life. I can't live stress-free. Stress is part of nature. It's natural. Like things are going to stress you out. And like the post that you made from A Boy Bathed in Blood, like certain things stress you out because you care about it a lot. And I feel like when you have aspirations, when you have ambitions and projects and stuff like that, you're going to be a little stressed out. But I feel like if you were to ask me the number of Americans that drink on the job, my number would be very, very high. Very high. Like in the millions, probably like 5 million. If you gave me an age range, if you gave me a location, Tampa, Florida, the number of 30 plus year olds that drink on the job in Tampa, Florida, 2 million. 2 million. Listen, I'm an engineer. You know, I need that earlier. I need it earlier.
And she manages people, right? So then that's a whole nother aspect that's like.
Hold on real quick. Let me just let me edit a ticker for this real quick.
This is crazy. You guys really wonder what else is going on in this chat.
All right, there we go. Just gonna add this ticker. Okay, I just got a little disclaimer. You know what I'm saying? Just a little disclaimer. You know what I mean? We're all just kind of putting a little information out there. I just want to make sure everybody knows that this is only stream number 3 for the VividLife TV. Second guest. So I need to keep this up. So I know we're all
said stay lit, but not like that.
I know we're all putting ourselves out there right now. But
please, I didn't expect it to be so wild so quick.
Please don't ask me to take down this good old stream. All right.
Does it include the comments?
Huh?
It includes the comments?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you watch it on YouTube, you can see all the comments too.
All right.
But that's what this may, like I said, the flies on the wall, and sometimes flies buzz, so keep the buzz going. Don't know why Dalika said meow. But
Dalika-isms.
Okay. So where were we? I lost our entire train of thought. But let's actually, this is real life. People love it. I love it myself. I got y'all in trouble.
Look, I don't drink on the job. I want everybody to know this. It might be a client of mine watching. I have no clue. I do not drink on the job. I am sober every time I conduct a session. Okay. I am sober every time I send an email. Okay. Anytime I have a meeting or conduct business, minus the networking event. That was a mix.
I've drank on a job before.
I have never done that.
It was one job. Matter of fact, let me lean in and tell y'all what job it was. Ultimate Medical Academy. Don't ask me why I was working there, but I worked there for
you worked at UMA?
9 months, and I have never in my life had more spiked coffee in my life. That place, I can't believe they. All right, I'm sorry. I told myself I wasn't going to get animated. I said I wasn't going to get animated this year, so let me. That place is so overstimulating. It's ridiculous. I'm an extrovert, dog. I'm an extrovert. And I've never sat in the corner of a room drinking.
I said business related, Jackie.
Coffee and Hennessy at 9:42 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. Never.
What year was this?
This was 2015. I was 25 years old.
Okay.
I had aspirations of climbing the so-called corporate ladder, and I discovered that is not the place to try to do that. There isn't enough gentleman's jack in the world to try to do that. Been there. I know exact feeling. Yo, it was crazy. And then you know what the worst part about it was? I discovered that I wasn't the only one. That was the craziest part of the whole thing. It was like, wait, like somebody offered. I was like, yo, I'm not the only person. And that's how I knew it was time for me to exit, because that's not the kind of environment I want to be around. Gentlemen,
Jack is a good segue into something else.
Okay. Well, in other news, all right, let's talk about some other things. So we got a few topics of the night. As we get closer, y'all stick around. We do have the full Q&A session with Cherie that's going to be coming up later on in the stream. Yeah, it got really.
Thanks, chat.
It got really kind of bleak on the stream, but as we continue on. So Cherie, as Paul mentioned, you are the president, correct, of the Florida State University Black Alumni.
Let's set the record straight. I'm the president of nothing.
Okay.
I am the president of nothing.
Okay.
I am what you refer to. Let's break it down.
Okay.
I am what you refer to as a regional representative of the Black Alumni, which is a part of the Alumni Association at the Florida State University. Okay. In order to become a rep, me and a couple of friends who like to do hood rat and ratchet things, right? Unofficially said, oh, we do this already. Let's do it officially, because whoever's been doing it, we don't even know who these people are. And not for nothing, there were individuals who were helping, volunteer, that were, trying to do what they could, but it wasn't in an official capacity. So, we got a meeting set up with the actual president of the FSU Black Alumni. He was like, this is what you guys need to do. I'm going to give y'all 3 reps. We're going to call you the Southwest Florida region of the Black Alumni. That's how we got the name. We were like, what? Southwest? I don't know. Not sure. We're kind of more central, but we had to separate from Orlando. Which is huge and had a nice little following. So that's how all that came to be. So yeah, I'm a regional rep.
Okay.
I'm a regional rep.
Not the president. I'm sorry.
I've never been the president of anything.
Okay. So you are like you mentioned, you're the rep, and you, for those that kind of missed a few of those details, you have been organizing a lot of the community events. I call them community events, brunches, different just engagement opportunities for FSU alumni who are overtaking Tampa Bay. I'm using my verbs.
No, you don't have to, because I watched the last stream. I heard what you said.
Yeah. Overtaking the Bay. It's a little bit of jealousy. And we've talked about this before, where it's just like, y'all are doing a really good job at building a community. And I've talked about that with you a lot in terms of like how important that is and just what that means for people in general. With 2024 being here, right? What is y'all goals, I guess, for that group? Like, how are you?
Alex,
oh, my bad.
You asked me this question, right?
I mean,
I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know which of my other reps are on this. We haven't had
let's assume none of them are, right? Let's assume none of them are.
Well, no, we got some auxiliaries, actually, because when we decided to do this, there were like a collective 7 of us who came together, was shooting out ideas left and right. I'm gonna give people their props. We have not done all of this on our own. You see the same three faces all the time.
Yeah.
But we got people behind the scenes that help us out with a lot of different things,
Yeah.
and again, that's part of, what our community is. It's what, that's what we're about. So we just support each other. But I can't answer that question because listen, I know one thing that we're going to do this year, and I hope that you and Paul will be present again.
Okay. Okay.
But outside of the brunch, we have running ideas, of course, but we I got to get with them. We got a new I don't remember what her title is now, but she's one of the reps in South Florida who is super excited about some new things to get us all back to homecoming. This year, she's calling it the Great Return and has referred to us as the Avengers. She is also a Marvel fan. So, yeah, I think once we have our first collective regional reps meeting, we'll be able to gather some more ideas about the direction of.
We don't need the whole Vivid Life tour, lineup of events, but I just really wanted to ask that question to kind of call out the fact that y'all be doing y'all thing. Like y'all, I have found myself at more of y'all events than I feel like I intended to at first, but I know you're holding down the fort doing y'all thing. I support y'all because I think it's dope. But we're going to pivot.
Hierarchy of needs include people.
Yes.
Ed.
Yes.
All right.
People, food, and underneath hookah is just ratchetry, loud yelling, and people with their hands up going, "Hey!" And every time I have been to one of y'all events,
you get that.
I have had my delight of people raising their hand and saying, "Hey!" But we need to talk about this really quick, okay? This is what we need to talk about right now.
Is this on the screen? Everybody can see this. I can't believe you put that on the screen like that.
Everyone can see this. I just want to I didn't know how else to introduce it. Okay, so I just had to rip the Band-Aid off
because this is a very painful topic.
This is going to be conversation until August, and I wanted to see.
I want to correct you.
Were doing.
No, let me correct you. It's going to be a conversation until forever.
You're right.
We're never getting over it.
You're right. You're right. No, but for real.
You have to have a question because I can't.
I don't have a question. My intention was to just put this on the screen and just sit here and just let us
see what happens.
Just like, because I didn't get a chance to react to it in real time, but like.
Yeah, when I saw your post, I was like,
Because here's the thing. Everyone, most people don't know. I'm from Miami. So like the University of Miami has a special place in my heart, okay? Second to the University of Miami is Florida State University. And then third, because I owe them niggas money, is the University of South Florida, okay? Seeing everything transpire from not being able to do the college football playoffs to this loss was crazy. And I like, you're always the first person that I'm just like, bruh. So again, I didn't get a chance to get to react.
I'm not going to put you on blast because we had a conversation about how we chose our schools. So we don't have to go there. It's cool.
Well, listen, one thing about everyone from USF, we all know we didn't write an essay, and that was part of what swung our decision to go to USF. So, I had other reasons why I couldn't go to FSU. That it don't really change much. It was just things that I didn't want to have to do. So
you clearly fit in very well. Nonetheless,
that sounded like a jab, bro.
No, it's not a jab.
Sound like a jab.
I'm a Seminole.
Let's go back to the topic at hand.
All right.
63-3. Okay, so at first I didn't know about the starters sitting out. I didn't know about all that. I just saw the score and I was like, yo, that's crazy. And then I saw the story and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like, unfortunately, FSU was set up to fail in that situation, dog. Badly.
You played sports.
I did.
I played sports.
You did.
A win is a win is a win, right? I don't want to hear any conversation. It's a business. Da 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 da. Okay, whatever. Those kids did what they were supposed to do on the field. It was a no. It was a no-brainer. You went undefeated. How many teams went undefeated this year?
Less than 5?
4. And how many spots were there?
4.
Okay, that's it. And the 2 teams that they put into the college football playoffs did what? They're both now 2 lost teams, right?
Yeah.
For what reason? And I'll be honest with you, after we didn't get in, I didn't pay too much attention to what was going on. I was pissed because this happened the very next day after we won the ACC championship for the first time. And when was the last time we won? In 2014?
Nah, 27.
No, yeah. No. Yeah, the year after we won in 2013. So yeah. It was supposed to be, a celebration. Like after the couple of years we had watching our team struggle, going through the whole mess with the coach. I'm not even gonna get into that, but just to see them come back the way that they did, that program, and the way that the season ended, they won out. They won the conference.
The only thing I'll say is I don't I get it, right? You're going for the draft. This is just another bowl game. But I'm looking at these players sideways, bro, if first off, all right, let me get to my honest point about the whole situation, right? Which is this. After this year, college football is going to be so discombobulated. It's going to be there's no more Pac-12. USC is going to be in the ACC. And essentially, like Eric said, they're trying to look at the ACC and basically say that the ACC is not a top tier conference, which is wild to me. That's where I feel like the disrespect across every school in the ACC is kind of whoa, bro. Relax. First off, look how many national championships, huh?
How many times did Clemson win in the last,
There's been 4 ACC national champions in the last 10 years. Not individual, but an ACC team has won 4 times. So I'm just wait a minute. I get it. SEC is the top conference, but to just flat out and be hey, if it's not Big 10, Big 12, SEC, we don't care. And to put the SEC so high on that pedestal is all right, bro. Like you said, it's officially no longer a game. It's officially a business. And also, I read the full report on FSU suing the ACC, which was also kind of crazy to me too.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to go through the whole thing yet, but it's madness. I will say this, and just to go back to the more so the game, I think so. Sports is not just physical; it's very much mental as well.
Yeah.
And to say that had no impact on some of these guys' decision to sit out, the way that some of them play, the whole month was just, and Norvell said in his post-game interview, he was this was tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
I mean, you have a perfect record and someone tells you can't compete for the national championship. And the teams that are competing, like you said, have 2 losses. Like they've lost to teams that you've beaten. Like
Even more
FSU
so.
beat LSU. Didn't LSU beat Bama? No, Texas beat Alabama. Like it's crazy. And honestly,
I didn't have too much of a problem with Texas. Although, I mean, you see how Georgia they tore us up, and they won the last 2 years.
but like,
I don't know.
here's the thing. Here's the thing about the bowl thing altogether. You know, back in the day, right? You used to, before there was a college football playoff, bowl games were just like, oh, okay, you're playing in a bowl game. Make sure you win your bowl game because it looks good for you and stuff like that. But like, I think I forgot who was talking about it, but it's like bowl games don't even matter anymore. And FSU was not the only school that had people sit out. Like every single bowl game, especially with this whole transfer portal thing, like every single bowl game had people sitting out. And it was to the point where it was just like, all right, like, why am I watching this game? Like these games are pointless. You know
I think this might be the first year where and maybe it was the first year I was paying attention, or it was actually just that many guys sitting out and declaring
23.
It's a lot.
That's first team offense and first team defense, like easily. And your kicker randomly.
I don't know. We're still gonna have our watch parties. We're still gonna go to home. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's not just about the football team, but it is one of the things that brings us together. So I don't know. It's just weird right now. It's just weird.
It's a like you said, it's gonna be a topic of conversation for a long time because I don't know, and it's not just happening in college football, but like sports in general. I feel like this whole sports betting thing has taken over. I just started my first account. If anybody wants a link to get $5, $10 on your Hard Rock sports betting app, hit me up. But I just started this whole sports betting thing because Hard Rock has it now. And I realized that everything you're watching on TV, I'm officially convinced that it's probably got a lot of people behind it pulling strings to make sure certain things go a certain way. And that's not me with a tinfoil hat on. That's when you open up that sports betting app, you'll see what I mean. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Not to rub the loss in your face, but at least we've now released it. It's out there.
No, my chest is still pretty tight. I need you to move on.
Okay. So let's move on to the next topic. When you and I were in Miami for Art Basel, and this is kind of, I know this is the conversation piece you really wanted to talk about. All right, y'all. So let me paint the picture. Cherie and I are in Miami for Art Basel, and we're at an event, and all of a sudden I'm just like, yo, whoa, what's going on right now? And I basically told Cherie, I was like, I'm having deja vu, but it's not really deja vu. Like I experienced this whole night in a dream before. And I'm like pointing at people and just kind of like, yo, like in the dream, like I meet that person and this, and just kind of calling stuff out. But I feel like it was like too much going on and we were moving too fast for us to actually stop and really digest that whole scenario. And then I find a TikTok about that actual topic, and it's called deja rêve, which is an opposite of deja vu, where it's like, instead of deja vu is basically an experience where oh boy, this is a mouthful. I've been here before, and I'm experiencing something that I've already experienced. Whereas deja rêve is I'm experiencing something that has never happened, but there's a slight chance that I experienced it in a dream. And that night was that exact thing. So I sent the TikTok to you, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is exactly what I was explaining to you, because I was trying to go in depth on the topic that night, but I was like, yo, you're drinking, I'm like chilling. I was like, this is probably gonna sound crazy, bro. So I was like, let me not go too deep in it. But I want to see from anyone who's tuned in, what is your experience with deja vu as you know it? And have you ever experienced that where you're experiencing something that has not happened yet? So it's almost like it's almost like you're telling the future a little bit. Like it was crazy. Like it was really, really crazy because it was very, very, no pun intended, it was very, very vivid experience where I'm just like,
What's the name of that movie that Sandra Bullock was in? Was it Premonition? Is that a little bit closer to what we're? I don't know. I can say this. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but I am a dreamer.
okay.
I have all kinds like dreams about all kinds of things. I've never talked about it out loud though. So when you said that, I was like, all right, so like I'm not the only one that's experienced this before.
Bruh.
You have like see, she's
Kind of crazy.
it's weird.
And
It's,
like the crazy thing is like, I don't know if you remember, but I was pointing at people and I was like, yeah, like, yo, like in the dream, I met her over there, like, yo, and this person was this. And I was
did you
calling
remember
out
her
what,
name?
huh?
Did you remember her name?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't remember her name, but I had pointed to someone and I was like, in the dream, I have a conversation with that person. So the whole night I was just like, all right, let me fall back and make sure I don't have a conversation with this person. And it was just like, it was insane, bro. Like it's just crazy to think about that way. But then it goes back to like, I talk to you all the time about like writing, right? I'm
Mhm.
an author. I have my own self-published books. And being a dreamer is usually how I end up coming up with like, oh, that'll be a dope story to write, is like I have a dream and I just like write it down when I wake up and then I'm like, oh, let me expound on it and then like just write it as a book. Like that's how I wrote We Missed a Meeting. That's how I wrote like A Boy Bathed in Blood. Like that's how I do it sometimes. So it's just like you said, you just don't know that other people are experiencing something. And then you also don't know that like it has a whole name and there's like research about it and all that kind of stuff. So it was crazy. What has your experience with deja reveille been? I feel like that word is so awkward.
Well, it is awkward, and I can't think of a specific off the top of my head. I mean, we might have to come back to it because I gotta think.
Have you ever had a dream from a very, very long time ago that you still remember today?
Of course.
What do you care to
No,
elaborate? No?
no.
Okay. Okay. Are your dreams like that crazy? Do y'all be having like crazy,
I
crazy
have
dreams?
I have had the craziest dreams where there have been friends from multiple friend groups in the dream, and I don't know why. Um, okay. I see, and I don't know if this was a deja vu. I literally just remembered as I'm saying that. But I thought it was related to whatever was going on in my life at the time.
Mm.
Um, hold on. Absolutely, there are so many layers here,
Layers.
though, because you can go so many ways with this, such as spirituality into it. Well,
I agree. I feel like it's one of those things that's just like kind of like every now and then you and I have a conversation where we're like, are we gonna go that deep? Like, are we gonna go existential with this? Are we gonna go spiritual with like, are we gonna go that deep? And I feel like you can't talk about dreams without like kind of bringing the whole backpack where you're like, I'm going to bring some spirituality, some intuition, some scientific research, even though there's not a lot of scientific research on dreams. Like you just have to bring all of that into it. And it's like, I think of things like, you know, going spirituality and religion. Like there's people in the Bible who have like revelations and things like that. And it's just like, we're not, I don't think we could say that we're just like above
mm,
having those kind of situations. It's just odd. I'm trying to think of another situation where I do remember another. I was on a date in 2021, right? And like I had never been to this place ever. It was in Coconut Grove, Miami, right? And like I started looking around and I was like, yo, same kind of feeling like, yo, and so the waitress comes over and I was just like, yo, I got a quick question. On the second floor, is there like what is it called? Not a balcony, but like a look like a
Patio?
terrace, like a terrace.
Um,
I was like, is there a terrace on the second floor with like pots and palm trees up there and a window and a sliding glass? And the girl was like, yeah, we rent those out as like a room. And I was like, is there also like a rooftop area where y'all can do parties? And she was like, yeah. Why? Have you ever been here before? And I was just like, kind of like, like, this is weird. Like, no, I've never been here before. But like I had seen that place in a dream. And like dreams are very interesting to me. Like I always talk about them because it just weirds me out sometimes. But I feel like everyone can speak on dreams, but I feel like we choose not to. You get what I'm saying? Like there's always like someone is always like, oh, let me stop right there because I don't want to say anything.
Because it gets weird. You're looking at your friend, and your friend's looking at you, and you're like, what is happening right? Like, why are we talking about this? Where is it going? Like the the dream that I'm thinking of is just too deep. It is so personal that I can't even begin to unpack it because it was just so many layers in it that I felt like I felt like I ended up still experiencing, but not all at the same time. It was like, if you see a scene in a movie, that scene happens.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next scene and there's different people in the scene.
Yeah.
But in my dream, the scenes were together. And I don't know. This is I don't know.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I don't want to lose the chat either. I want to
I honestly feel like everyone can say that they have had like I still think about the fact that like research, right? Research is like, yeah, when you're having a dream, you don't see people's faces. And it's just like, well, I know my mom's face and I know that my mom was in my dream. Like, what do you mean I don't see faces? So it's just things like that. And it's like
I will say this. So like I'll give a piece. Like my mom was in this particular dream and she was talking. And I heard everything she was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another person in the dream who was talking, but my mom couldn't hear what they were saying. I could hear everything that each of them were, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
That's crazy.
I don't know. It
was very crazy.
It's very strange.
I was gonna the weird thing that I have in my dreams, and this is probably how I knew I was gonna end up being a writer, right? And like someone who just loves stories and stuff like that. Because even now to date, I'm not always the main character in my dream. That's crazy. Like that has always. You're never.
You know what? I don't even know if I'm always in. I don't even know if I'm always in the dream. Honestly, I'm having dreams and I'm watching other people. And I wake up and I'm like, what is going on? What does this mean? I always want to know what it means, but I don't talk about it out loud. Like I might mention it to my therapist and she will ask some other deep question and I can't answer it. And I don't know what to do with it after that.
Yeah, I've had dreams that legit start like I don't know, like the dream just starts and like I guess at some point maybe I look at the hands or it's from third person point of view or something like that. But I just realized that I'm not the main character in the dream. So we got a comment from
this is good.
Share. I've experienced deja vu. Not sure if it was from dreams. However, my dreams have revealed partners' infidelities, sadly, both times. That's the hardest kind of people to date, boy. Just I know you was at that bitch house. Damn.
Wow.
Can't even lie. She dreamed about it. Sometimes I'm in a dream, but it's like I'm watching myself. Yes, the third person
dream. Oh,
like you playing GTA and it's your body moving, but you're not seeing through your dreams are weird, dog. Like dreams. And then of course you have movies like Inception, which I love the movie Inception because it like broke down what dreams were. And then you have which like they broke it down so well that it's just like, was this based off of research or did you just write a script and you were just high? Like I just never really know. But then you also have like Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if you remember, where they basically said like when you're dreaming, you're experiencing the life of a multiverse version of you,
Mm-hmm.
which lines up with that dream you talking about. Because if like you could hear two people who couldn't hear each other, which is like,
And it was two separate scenes. It was two. It was insane, and it happened, and I was like,
that's crazy. You remember that though. That
well,
sounds like a lot to remember. Waking
because
up
it
from
was
it.
my life at the time.
I see. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
it's easy.
I remember this is probably the craziest dream I've had from like a long time ago. Where I dreamt it was during Hurricane Floyd, which if you're from Florida, I'll just tell you Hurricane Floyd was like 1998, 1999. And there was one of those crazy dreams that was just like, all right, I don't know what this meant, but whatever. There was a mermaid in the pool, and the mermaid had a rope around her. So like as she's flailing in the pool, the rope is like dragging on the floor around the pool. I grab the rope, right? The mermaid jumps out like a dolphin. And of course,
You did
because
that
I'm
too
holding
much.
the rope, I get thrown into the air. And when I hit the ground, I wake up. But I also woke up with like a very like pounding, hurting chest at the same time. And I remember just waking up and being like, all right, that was weird. I'm like 8 years old. So it was like, I'm too young to have chest pain or for my heart to be
You remember
hurting.
that from 8?
Yeah, bro.
No.
Yes, I do. I remember some very bizarre things. And I know we got all of y'all on here, the clinician click right now on here. But I'm just gonna ask you just because I want to know and I want to see if it proves my point. What is your earliest memory in life? Ask that to the whole chat.
Please, somebody answer, because
Like, when do you remember? Like, do you remember like 2 years old, 3 years old, playing with a toy? You know, driving in a car, playing like your fingers on the power lines in the backseat of the car. Like, what's the earliest memory that you remember in life? And if anybody can explain, why do some people remember further back than others?
I am not surprised by that at all. What? That I don't remember anything under 5, probably. Um,
Wow.
wow.
Okay. Ooh, that's interesting, bro. 2 years old. I was two. Actually, mine is also 2. It's crazy. Like my memory of life goes from 2 years old, and then it skips like months and months, like little chunks, and then it's like full blown. Like I finally got a memory card and put it in, and then like 4 years old and on.
Well, okay, wait a minute. I might remember like 4. I remember were we in, I think we were in Kansas at the time. I remember a
Kansas.
military family. Military.
Oh, okay.
Wichita, Kansas, to be exact.
Okay.
I remember being in like pre-K, I want to say, and like learning to run. My first memory, I don't know which one was the first. I remember there being a tornado and us having to go and run. Yeah. It was like some Dorothy and Toto type.
I mean, you
that
said
dog's name,
Kansas.
right? Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I have a theory. This is crazy because you just proved it. And this is just theory. You know me. I'm just a writer. I'm just creative. I just be thinking about stuff. Which is, I think everybody's first memory happens with a loud sound or some form of like, you know, if you think about it, right? If you take a baby and you like clap your hand, they're gonna blink and they're gonna like wince, right? That's a natural reaction. But my first memory of life was Hurricane Andrew. So of course, and it's crazy because it kind of goes to what Dalika was talking about with like seeing from behind yourself and stuff. But I was like 2 years old, and you know, if you don't board up your house correctly during a hurricane, air comes in and air can possibly like blow out your windows. So the front door got blown open, and they had to like hold on to my cousin. He had to grab the door. He had to close the door. That was a struggle. And so it was loud because the air was whistling and stuff. And I didn't know that I should not have remembered that until I was like 19 years old. And I talked about it. And somebody was like, there's no way you remember that. And I recounted it to my brother. And my brother was like, yeah, that's pretty much how everything happened. You know, my brother's 8 years older than me. So I have a theory. That's just my theory, that loud sounds, big bangs, maybe flashing lights, whatever, is what I don't know, causes your consciousness. I don't know. There's like jokes, there's joking TikToks and reels about this topic, but I don't know. I feel like I might be on to something now that you're saying that a tornado. That's crazy that you were just running and then you became like, oh shit, my name is Cherie and I'm running in a tornado. Like
I didn't see, like, Brittany she's going into a place that I'm thinking already. So, and so, because think about, like, we're talking about caregivers and parents, a few people in the chat, right? Yeah. And who dropped you off at Head Start to meet Miss White? Share. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, but wait, hold on. Is that like that? I don't know how much of a coincidence that is, because it's like at that age, you're always going to be around your caregivers. You're always going to be around your parents. So I feel like that's a detail that you're automatically going to remember off the strength of, you know.
It's a part of human development, though.
Mine was opposite. Loud bang. Mine was related to love. My teacher was the mother figure because mine was not present during that time. Oh.
Memory and attachment to caregivers. Your caregiver can be anybody.
That's a good. Okay. Interesting. I wonder how much research I can find on that. And now I feel like that's going to be a deep dive. I'm going to go down a deep rabbit hole of what is the consistency of everyone's first memory. I feel like, I mean, I remember the whole room. I remember where everyone was in the room.
So you're saying that was your first memory?
That was my first memory. August 23rd, 1992.
Do you remember how you felt?
Not necessarily, other than like, you know, like the little bit of fear that comes with overstimulation. Like, oh my God, like it's loud in here, and oh my God, like the door, and like I didn't understand what was going on fully, but I knew enough of like, yeah, something's wrong. Like the door just blew open.
You're how old now?
34 next week.
I know you don't know what you're doing for your birthday yet. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're 34 years old now. And if that were to happen today, what do you think you'd be feeling and experiencing?
Yeah, you're hitting me with the voice again.
I'm just like,
I think it would be fear, but can you be fearful at age 2?
Alex, don't, like, come on.
It's not. Is it like an emotional fear? Is it an emotional fear, or is it like reactionary fear of like?
I am definitely going to start charging for these. So listen, this is the thing. Just because you don't have the language to attach to, because most of us don't, first of all, most of us don't know how to describe what we're feeling, because we that's why I don't know how to describe it. I'm not sure. So I'm asking all these questions to be able to help you gain some further insight into what it is that you're actually experiencing. So now that you have the language to attach to it, now you have some words you can use and be like, I am feeling XYZ because da 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 da, and so on and so forth. So at 2 years old, like you don't know that it's fear or that you're scared or that you're confused, but at 34, you may have a better idea now that you've experienced life, right? Now that you've had some sort of education in some capacity, now that you've interacted with other people, you talk, you have a voice, you're able to speak.
Well, I was answering the first part of that question in like without knowing the definition here, because I feel like the first answer the first almost like automatic answer you're gonna say is like there were loud noises and I was fearful. But like because I don't even understand what's going on, I can't really say I'm fearful. I'm just responding like, you know what I mean?
But that's why I asked you
With the second.
Yeah, like now what would you call it?
Oh yeah, I would call it fear. Yeah.
Right. So if you experience the same physical, stimulation and the sounds and all those things, like that's probably what was going on then. You just didn't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I like what Cher said. She said, "I'm not a clinician, but but it has also been stated that people don't remember their younger memories due to being in survival mode." This is gonna bleed so perfectly into the next part of the conversation, and then going into the interview aspect, because again, going back to the theme of tonight, right? I really wanted to talk about like act like you've been here before, meaning kind of like a double entendre of like us talking about memories and stuff like that. But then also like as you're going into your 2024, being able to look back, and I love the fact that we're now talking about survival mode, because like going into 2024, you're setting your new goals, you're setting your your New Year's resolution, and then it's like, well, how much of my ambitions for the new year are set on survival mode, right? I always think to myself, and I always talk to myself about it sometimes, where I'm like, yo, that skill that you have, that talent you have, it's cool for it to just be a hobby because you learned it in survival mode for whatever reason that you were in survival mode. We never really have a clear reason as to why we're in survival mode, but it's very, very interesting that we are now at that point where survival mode has been brought up about our younger selves. Granted, we're talking about childhood, but now let's kind of pivot a little bit and talk about like early adulthood, our 20s. I am inching on halfway through my 30s, which is crazy. Just a little crazy. But early 30s and everything like that. So let's kind of pivot a little bit and go into that in terms of first your reaction to Cher's comment, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Are you asking me to? I think we reacted to it. I don't know. Okay. I didn't have much else with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, so we can kind of dive into this 2024 part of it. My bad for that was a really long question, by the way. So my bad for that. But 2024 is here. New Year's resolutions, the whole nine. We all have patterns that we repeat. We all have like behaviors. Everyone has their goals, right? Some people's goals are to settle down. Some people's goals are to be better with their money and things like that. And the first thing that I think about with New Year's and New Year's resolutions is the idea that sometimes we set the same New Year's resolution over and over and over again, and we're not achieving those New Year's resolutions because we're kind of always falling into the same patterns that keep us from achieving those goals. And with that, it's like, how do you go into a new year? And this is where the question starts for you. How do you go into a new year reflecting on your own like personal? How should we all go into a new year reflecting on our own repeated behaviors and patterns and focus on kind of ending some of those cycles?
I had a lot of people at the end of 2023 say to me, at the beginning of the new year, I'm going to do this. And I think my ongoing immediate response has been like, what's preventing you from doing it now? Like, why are you wait? Like, the New Year's in 2 weeks. This is something that you just said you wanted to do. Like, what's preventing you from doing it right now? Like, why can't you do it right now? So my mindset's a little bit different. Because if it's for me person, like if it's something I want to do, I'm just gonna do it.
Right.
I'm not gonna wait for a new year. I'm not gonna wait for the next week. I'm going to start putting something in place to begin executing it. Right.
Yeah.
I like to do things. I try to do things in steps. Like I said, I had a lot of different things last year that I did. I didn't necessarily do them in any succinct order. It does not have to be linear, but I think it is good to kind of place things in increments of time
Yeah.
versus like, I don't know. So like, let's say I want to start going to the gym and it's December 2nd. Get the gym membership, get the trainer, whatever you need to do, set it up and be like, all right, I am going to dedicate and be more disciplined and consistent in XYZ. But you know, going back to you saying, giving yourself grace, like I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week. Come on. And you haven't been to the gym in the last 6 months. That's not realistic. It should be something that's realistic when you're going into it. I mean, if you're allowing yourself to develop a new habit over a period of time, you don't wake up and, all right, it's a new me. No. The version right here in front of you that you see of Sheree was in development over like the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that you talked about the gym, because I feel like that's the first, that's like the most common thing that people talk about when they talk about New Year's. And it sounds like you're saying essentially, which something I wholeheartedly agree with, which is building out the steps in the process, right? And making sure that I kind of slightly disagree with the idea that it doesn't have to be. I don't know if you said it doesn't have to be in order, or you just did not do it in a certain order for yourself.
I think it depends on what it is.
It depends on what it is for sure. I think it's like, when I think of going into 20, I was actually asked that question last year and it stopped me in my tracks. It was the question of like, getting rid of debt, right? I had said something and I was like, by the end of the year, I want to like pay off this debt. And it was like, why the end of the year? And I was like,
exactly, because you can pay it off sooner.
I could pay it off sooner if I take the necessary steps. And I think what it is as a culture, this is just my thinking about it, because I started planning out my goals for YouTube, for all of these things, and I did think about, I'm going to start on January 1st. And I was like, dude, who cares, bro? Like, I have no idea what's going to happen in 2024. There's so many new variables kind of adding into my pot. I was like, let me just start now. And December was my best month of YouTube. Like, it just took off, right? And so I think we get so used to seasons of newness, where it's like there's always life and the year is like a Monopoly board. And before you want to pass go before you buy property. You want to pass go and get the $200 to feel like, all right, it's been a new cycle, where it's just like, nah, bro, you just buy the utility when you land on it. You know what I mean? Like, just do things as they come. And I feel like that's the number one repeated behavior that I feel like everyone should start to like think of, is you don't need to have a New Year's resolution. What about a birthday resolution? What about every month of, like, my birthday's on January 12th. Every 12th day of the month, I do something for my birthday. Like, something small.
Somebody told me
something like that. I got
a conversation recently My friend, who was I talking to that was like, I feel like that that newness or that new year should be around your birthday. I don't know.
Yeah, like my new year starts on my birthday and it ends. It's a little whatever, but my year ends Art Basel. Like after Art Basel, I'm done. Like I don't have anything left in me. I don't got no more. I don't want to create nothing. I don't want to do nothing. Like I'm done. It's the holidays. It's supposed to be cold. Whatever, whatever. So it's like that window of time between Art Basel and my birthday, I'm kind of just like I don't feel obligated to do all of these things, but at the same time, like that is to me for me because it's the days before my birthday. It's a very reflective time. My birthday's I get lit, yes, but also my birthday is very reflective where I'm just like, hey, who do I want to be at 34? Who do I want to be at 30? Who do I want to be at 33? Whatever. But overall, like if my birthday was in April or March, that's how I would apply it. Like that 30 days before your birthday should be,
It would
like,
be the same concept.
yeah. And so for me, I think going into, repeated behaviors, I'm gonna speak for myself. Like I think with repeated behaviors, I just think of the idea of like, how do I, the first question is how do I make this year different than last year? But also, how do I make January different from December? Like life is continuing. Like it's not this big. I don't always think about things in the bigger picture. So what do you think about that?
And then time, well, I also think time is shorter than
Mm,
I think it is. So then there's that aspect of it too, as well, which is kind of why my mindset is like, I'm
yeah.
just going to do it now. And, figure it out as I go. Like, we decided to do this last week. Like, I know, like, put me
Friday.
on
I think it was
episode 13.
yeah. And it's crazy because to clear it up, I hit you up about this, I think on Saturday. And we just so happened to be messaging each other already. And I was like, hey, what you doing Wednesday, bro? You trying to hop on the train? Yeah, all right, cool. And so
You made a decision very quickly that day.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of already knew what I was gonna talk about with you because it's kind of one of those things. Like I'm trying to be always ready. So I already knew where I want to go with you.
I made my decision quickly that day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, and you didn't even have the fact you didn't even. Most people that I ask about this, they're like, "What are we talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, you need that like written out." Like you were just like, "Yeah, all right, cool." So
we've talked too many times for me to even. It could have literally been anything, and it has been all night. Yeah.
So let's go into the meat and potatoes of this evening, right? We're just about at the 90-minute mark. I want to make sure I can be respectful of your time.
It's 10 o'clock.
Woo! I know. I don't
Come
like
on now.
trying to make sure this little bit of tint in my eyes is not my eyes actually being red.
Right. This is the last thing people are doing before they go to bed.
Exactly. To your question earlier. So first and foremost, for my viewers, for the sake of this conversation, talk to us in brief about Living in Truth Counseling, and what your mission is with that, and what you've established so far.
Well, I guess I'll start with the name. LIT stands for Living in Truth. It's about being free, without fear of judgment, to be who you are, yourself, authentically, genuinely, unapologetically. For me, it's about empowering other people to experience that, because I've had that experience myself. That's how LIT came to be what it is. And it was very intentional that the acronym is LIT. I think at the time, it might have been at the time, because this was in like 2020, I want to say.
Yeah.
Lit was a big word. Like, it was a thing to say. Like, it's lit, I'm lit. Like, what does that mean? And I'm thinking, I'm like, all these new words that, like, what happened if things are just cool? Like, all right. So I wanted to make it something that was relatable, but it stood on some some good principles, which are very close to my heart. So
Yeah. Okay. So it's been now 3 years. Because
I think a lot of people think that Lit started last year and it didn't. I
yeah,
think that was more so because I started doing more outside of talk therapy. I
yeah,
mean, my friends are not in the room when I'm doing that.
yeah,
So I started inviting people into Lit through other avenues and spaces. So um, just, I'm trying to think if I even want to get into that, but my personal experience very much is the reason why Lit is what it is. I graduated right. I walked across the stage in Tampa, actually,
hmm,
with my master's in social work. I celebrated. It was great. Um, Went on a trip with my brother, week long cruise. It was all, I literally left the day after my party. Came back, the world started shutting down.
yeah,
What is happening? So I knew I would. I was like, I'm gonna be a therapist. I'm gonna get a job as a therapist. I'm eventually have my own business, whatever. I didn't know what the name of it was gonna be. It was just something that I just knew that I was gonna do. I'm like, all right, I'm graduated. I'm gonna do my internship, get my hours, get licensed. Cool. And then the world went to shit, literally.
yeah,
And so did mine. Like personally, like so much was going on. And I'm like, how am I supposed to show up for all these people? Everybody's now looking to me for answers, right? Like you're the professional, you're the expert, and I don't call myself an expert in anything. Actually, it was in a training um that I went to get licensed. Where like you don't really want to refer to yourself as an expert until you've been doing like this specific thing for like 10 years.
damn,
Nonetheless, like I was no expert in mental health. I know people, I
yeah,
know human beings, I know myself, and I know what I was experiencing. So, um, without having had that, there would be no Lit. Um, and so, through that, like having that experience of the world kind of being in the state that it was and all of these different major things going on
yeah,
top of the pandemic, mental health became like this word, like a catchphrase everybody uses. That was,
yeah,
and this is why I saved your post. This is what it was, because you're like, it's like this thing that people say, and it's cool, it's lit. Like it's a lot more
yeah.
than what we're actually talking about. So um I think I got away from your initial question, but I'll just segue into what Lit's been doing.
Okay.
So I learned a lot about myself through going to therapy and then having that awareness at when I'm talking to other people about their own stuff that they have going on. And I'm
Yeah,
learning about myself more because your clients teach you things about yourself too, because you see more of yourself now when you have this awareness. So, and then it shows up in your relationships with people. So then you have that aspect of it, and those relationships start to shift. So, but what I noticed, particularly in the last year, is that the changes that occurred over the last few years, people started recognizing and were
yeah,
providing me with feedback. And it was uncomfortable at first. I was like, wow, what are you talking about? Sure, I don't know who you are right now. Like, but who is this? But I'm proud of you. I'm this and that. So I had to receive those compliments.
yeah,
I had a very dear friend of mine who's in the chat right now. She's like, when are you gonna like step into it? When are you gonna get to it? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm already And
Yeah,
then
I was gonna
I
say,
started doing these things, and I was like, oh, I am this person. Like, okay, cool.
I was gonna kind of say it earlier because when you were talking about like when lit started, I was gonna say like I somewhat couldn't really be the credible source to say it in an accurate time because I've been hearing you talk about it for 3 years, and I'm like, but I know that the name being on social media, being out, planning the network events, I'm like, that's like in the last year. So I've kind of watched you ideate and execute a lot of the ideas for this, but it's still it's new in the execution, not new in the ideation. But that also brought me something you said to me, something you just said kind of created a question for me with you obviously working with your patients, clients.
Sure.
That's the proper word.
You
Can I say clients?
Sure.
Okay. Clients, that sounds
It depends on the setting. So like
patient.
it's fine.
Okay, patient. People. With the people you see, right? How do you even how do you draw the line between like you know how sometimes we share our own experiences to help create like a bridge of relativity between like, oh look, like I empathize with you because I have my own experiences. Like how hard is that to do in your profession? And if you all want to kind of answer in the chat as well, definitely want to see what your thoughts are. But like how do you draw that line of like I want to be a human to the people that I see, but at the same time, like I want to draw a line where I'm not sharing pieces of myself that even I haven't started working on yet. Like, what's that like?
First of all, it's a skill. It's not like because I think it's natural for anyone to sit across from another person and be like, I've experienced that too.
Yeah.
This is why it's a skill, because oftentimes when we're talking to our friends, we insert ourselves based on something our friend said to us about their experience. Think about it.
I'm guilty of that.
Oh, yeah, like because this one time, it's a skill. It's not something that you click and it turns on. So I've had it many a times in sessions where I'm like thinking, I'm listening, I'm like doing both at the same time. I'm like listening to the client and thinking of I'm having that moment of, okay, I've had a similar experience, but how do I share that in a way that's beneficial to them? It always, if the intent isn't for their benefit, then I don't share it.
The intent is not to the benefit.
That's one. The other part is like I'm not just gonna go into sharing personal details about myself, not just with my clients, but with most people in general. Because
Yeah.
I'm a private person. Like this, it in itself is a lot for me to be able to do because it requires you to be vulnerable. But to your point, like how do you draw the line between like being human and like having that line of like this is my personal space that I'm not inviting you into. I think one of the easiest things for me to the way that I kind of go about it is like when I talking about a feeling or emotion, it doesn't have to be an exact shared experience. All human beings, you've experienced anger.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you what made me angry. I know what anger feels like. Saying, well, you know what
Right.
anger feels like, or disappointment, or this. That. So I have some of my go-tos. One of my go-tos has been consistently, when I got put on academic probation during my grad program. It was disappointing. Not a lot of people know that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was placed on academic probation. I had to write an appeal to get back into school. All right. If I hadn't gone through that, then I wouldn't be in front of you right now. Right.
True.
That's an experience. That is me being what's the word? I'm talking about resilience.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? The ability to bounce back from something. Like that was a temporary moment in time. So, things like that's kind of how I try to go about
Okay. And so just I'm glad you went in that exact place. So recently, for everyone that's new here, I have been probably talking about the Vivid Life going on like 2 years now. It's been everywhere. Vivid Life Apparel is my merch line, Vivid Life Tour, events that I host and where I'll be at, Vivid, just all that. And so recently I've defined the Vivid Life as kind of 5 areas that I focus on, like people who have journey of purpose, right? Like being on that journey. I'm trying to figure out what your purpose is. And I'm glad you mentioned that last piece because that eased right into that. That's the first pillar of the Vivid Life. And so with that journey and you overcoming obstacles, like how does that like prepare you to say, like, you know what, I know what my calling is, I know what my purpose is, like I know what the next big thing that I want to do. Like how did that exact moment of being on academic probation like line you up for, like you said, being here today and running a business called Living in Truth? not the glasses coming off. And I know it's funny because you keep saying I don't know if I want to be vulnerable, but I'm like, Sheree, it's okay. You're gonna be a little vulnerable. It's okay.
I don't have. I mean, living in truth. I'll get into some things. I mean, so when I was on academic probation, I didn't know. I couldn't even remember what was going on at work. I was working at the sheriff's office. I was working in child protection. It's a job. Oh, it must be hard. It was. It was difficult. It was a very difficult job to have, which is part of the reason why I was on academic probation, because I was trying to do too much. And I was trying to be too much to too many people, which put me in a really bad financial place. Um, it 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 affected a lot of my close relationships, friendships, close friends, relationships within my family. My partner at the time. There was just a lot going on,
Yeah.
and I was like, when that happened, I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Because then, like, what if I appeal and I don't get back in? And I kind of, I do consider myself a spiritual person. I kind of fell back onto what I know, my faith. I was like, there's a reason why this is happening. Um, I don't know exactly what it is. Looking back at it now, I think it was, you need to slow down and you need to think, right? You need to be a little bit more calculated about what you're doing. You need to create balance. You need to take care of yourself and your health, and like, because these things are deteriorating, and you're about to, the calling that you're going into requires a lot of you. So if you don't figure this out now, like,
It'll figure it
once
out
you
for
get
you.
into it, you might fall. It might not work out the way that you know. Saying you might sink further. So I reached out to a couple of supports. I did not go to therapy yet, but eventually I got back into the program. I think I might have switched up my work schedule. I started listening to people who had been there before a little bit more. I did things, I took risks, I did things that I didn't necessarily want to do. I went into an internship that I think showed me a lot of, man, when I tell you my skills like took off from there, and they probably already were, and I didn't recognize it at the time. But I remember like doing my first group, I was sick in the room. My friend was like, I'm gonna be there right there with you. And I'm like, I don't care what you're, and my mom, I don't care what this girl's saying. She's like, but I already know, like, this is but that's how I learned. And and so that same that same concept, I just took that and applied it moving forward. So then I left the sheriff's office. I prepared for it though,
Yeah.
right? What I had to do when I was on academic probation, I had to put things in place. So I prepared for like a year to leave the sheriff's office. I got to walk across the stage in Tampa. If I would have graduated when I was supposed to be in like Missouri or something. Who's gonna come to Missouri, right? You know. So my family was able to come to Tampa. It was an easy trip to make. My friends were here. It was easy to, that celebration was there. I had a lot of support.
Now remind me really quick what year we're talking about.
My degree was conferred November 2019.
Okay.
I walked. So I was in school online. I walked in January 2020. So between between the degree, me completing it, and when I walked, I went overseas for the first time to Egypt with some family and friends. Probably still to this day, one of the best trips I've ever taken.
Yeah.
It was lit. Okay. It was cool. We took a cruise down the Nile. It was dope. Actually, that was probably my last favorite New Year's. Because it was a whole part of food everywhere. Oh, it was great. But not to get off track. But yeah, so I took that same concept that my friend was like, we're just gonna throw you into the fire. So I left the sheriff's office, didn't have a job. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Got money saved though. It's gonna work out.
I remember this era now. I remember this era very, very well
this
now.
This is the era that a lot of people are like, okay, now this is when things really started to take off.
Yeah.
That was when I started renting. God. Listen, my mom was like, so, but you have a full time, you have benefits, you have retire. I was in the Florida retirement system at the time.
Yeah.
I invested for 8 years. It's fine. I still have that on top of some other things because I opened other, retirement savings accounts for out of that decision. My partner at the time was like, you need to figure something out because I'm gonna have to start paying your bills. I'm like, I got this.
So with a time like that, right? I mean, I have definitely had moments like that, right? Where it's just like, I kind of don't know where and when and how, but I know that it will, right? But there's still that factor of like fear, right? For you and for people who you typically work with and just in general, like how do you advise people? How do you direct people when it comes to overcoming fear, challenges, and setting their goals? Like what is your advice for overcoming like that huge obstacle of being fearful?
What happens if things don't change?
Yeah, we asked that question in sales. Like what happens if you do nothing? Like,
yeah. What if everything that you stays the same? Even though we know everything you're doing right now is like not working at all. It's not working. We know something has to change. So we're talking about being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. If we go back to what you were saying about, going into the new year with like we fall into the same patterns because we've been doing it for so long. There's comfort in, even though it doesn't necessarily feel good, it's just easier because I don't know what happens next when I do this thing. It's the fear of the unknown, but that's always going to be there.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I can imagine that you probably say that a lot when you're giving relationship advice, if you ever give relationship advice. So and I, it's crazy because like I said, we ask that question a lot in sales. Like, if you do nothing right now, like what changes? What impact is having nothing? What impact does doing nothing have on the bigger picture? And I think that is a really good question to ask, especially when people do say, they're afraid to do something. This phrase right here that Cher dropped, "do it afraid," I actually hate it. Like, I actually hate the phrase "do it afraid." I hate the phrase "do it broke," because I think, you know me, I'm like very like into the grain of things. I always ask the question, how does someone, because fear is crazy. Like, being fearful changes how you look at reality, and it's like it shapes your reality because you're fearful. So it's like, to do it afraid, like, what does that mean, yo? Like, to the everyday person who has a creative project that they really want to do, but they're afraid to put themselves out there because they're afraid to get judged. Like, to say "do it afraid" is like, how do you
Those
overcome
things are going to happen anyway.
True.
No, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's called courage,
Yeah.
right? I'm not doing it because like I know it's going to work out. I'm not, because I don't know. Like, I'm not doing it because I'm not afraid that something bad's going to happen and I might not have all the facts. I'm doing it because I said there was something I wanted to do and there's something I wanted to accomplish. So if I don't make a decision, then it's never going to work out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what that I will never know what it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think because so "do it afraid" is like it's the simple way of saying
Yeah.
everything that I just said. It's like you 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 choose. It's a choice to start being intentional about what it is you want to have a more fulfilling life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're in this stagnant place, you're not really sure which way is up or down, but you have all these thoughts, you have all of these ideas, things that you want to do, or like what's preventing you. Fear usually is at the top of that list.
Yeah, that's definitely at the top. Fear, maybe money, but
Mhm.
I feel like money is usually connected to fear because you're afraid of losing the money you're investing, or you're
Yeah.
afraid you don't have the money, or you're afraid you don't have the money to do it correctly, which is like, these are all things that I think about like in the last month, even for myself, right? Paul and I don't know if you heard on last episode, Paul and I were talking about like streaming as a concept. It's so crazy. It's like,
Mhm.
People are afraid to do these because the first 7 times, maybe the first 20 times you do it, you're talking to yourself. Like, no one cares, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I remember getting to a point where I was like, I know I want to do these stream things. I know I want to stream, but like,
What do people care?
huh?
What do people care about?
What do people care about? And it's like, what do I care about to be able to talk to myself about for 90 minutes? And like, that was the hardest thing. And eventually I was like, if I know how to do anything, I just want to talk to people. Like, and it's like you said, it had to become intentional. You see how much behind the scenes kind of stuff is on this. Like,
It's
it's a
crazy.
lot. It's a lot of technical stuff, but also there was a lot of intentionality in like, all right, let me ask really tough questions, which is why when you messaged me and you were like, yo, these are some tough questions, I was like, good. Like, I'm that's a good thing. Because I want it to be intentional. I want people to feel like, yes, they're a fly on the wall listening to this conversation, but there's some form of insight that they can walk away with. I feel like the easy way, and I'm just using myself in this instance to just talking about my own experience with like overcoming not so much a fear of not so much a generalized fear, but actually something that I feel like a lot of people in their 30s are afraid of, which is the fear of being a rookie. Like, the fear of like having to learn something new and not being good at it, which is tough stuff.
So that's, you know what, that kind of, I was thinking about this yesterday when I was kind of trying to prepare myself for this, and I was thinking like how I stopped doing things alone. There's no reason to reinvent wheels.
Oh, I
There's
see what you mean.
always somebody who has done it before you, that has been doing it longer than you, that has some sort of insight or wisdom. You don't have to take everything that they say, right, and apply it to whatever it is you're trying to do. But you're gonna gain some insight. You're gonna gain some knowledge. It's gonna provoke thought for you into what it is you're trying to build or create, accomplish, whatever it is. So I literally, I mean, you and I do this all the time.
Yeah.
Most of the people in the chat, I've reached out, hey, like, and what do you think? And this, you always have to consider the source. Like, I'm not going to go to somebody who is like, if I started talking to you about something and you start giving me the, oh, well, you shouldn't, I don't know about this. Forget you.
Right.
That's not the type of energy I'm looking for right now. I
Right.
just want, let me ask a specific question now.
Right.
What do you think about this as a consumer? Right? Would you da 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 da, and why? That's all I want, because I'm going to do it regardless. I just
Right.
need a little bit of feedback to know like who to target with this
Right.
particular thing, and it might not be you, and that's cool.
Right. And that pairs up with two of the other concepts with like the Vivid Life and that I've been kind of building up on is like, I think one, collective effort, right? You pretty much nailed it. Like, you don't need to do, especially in this day and age, like the idea of self-made, self-starter, all of that self stuff is like, why do something alone when the number one thing, and I say this confidently without necessarily having to exaggerate statistics, the number one thing everyone wants and needs in the world right now is a sense of community. Why do anything alone right now when you can possibly build a community, find a community, or even like build your tribe, right? Like, there are other people who do what we do. If you were the only person who was doing something, you'd fail at it because that means there's no need for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like collective effort. But I also think in order to understand how to appreciate having groups of people that you can go to, you have to know who you are. Like, you have to know your individual contribution. You actually have to know how to celebrate yourself as well. So for you, how do you celebrate? Like, obviously you have your tribe, you have multiple communities that you fit into. How do you celebrate your own individuality, and how have you found your individuality and your kind of your unique gift as, within your profession?
I think that feedback helps. It's helped me at least.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've had a lack of confidence, I think, in your abilities, or you just kind of forgot who you were for a moment, that helps, because when it's consistent, I mean, oh, okay, like I'm on the right track. Like I am showing up as the version of myself that I've been wanting to grow into, or that I wanted to be, or that I was afraid to be.
Yeah.
I was going to be judged, or I was going to get rejected, or, whatever feeling was associated with that. And I mean, I as far as celebrating myself, I think everybody knows one of the things that I love the most is music. I go to a concert, I will go by myself. I don't, if it's not an artist that I know for sure that you enjoy just as much as me, you're not invited.
Right.
Right. Because I'm not gonna have a good time. Because you don't know the words to the song,
yeah.
right? Like, and I have like these, you see the speaker back here, what I was doing before we got on here, listening to music, lighting my
Right.
candles, having a dance party. I, you know, traveling. And, you know, when I put this sweatshirt on, I was like, this is yours. Like, this is my shit.
Now you know how I feel with like Vivid Life apparel. Like,
Yes, but I knew that though, because whenever I'd have be like, yo, this is my friend Alex. He's like, I can't imagine how you feel. So like, I feel that way now, and it's something that I said. It's something that I came up with, and I'm like, this
yeah,
is me. I don't care what anybody has to say about. I don't care if you don't like it. If you don't want to be lit, then go somewhere else. I don't care.
right.
And really just I block that. I think I've gotten better at blocking out that noise and still showing up and doing the things that I want to do. Even when somebody says something to me that's not in alignment with why I'm doing something, I'm like, no, actually, and I educate them and I share with them,
Yeah,
right? And they're like, oh, and sometimes they get it, and sometimes they don't. But I'm not taking on that responsibility of their understanding either. So
fact. I forgot what year it was. I think it was 2019. Like I was like, it's 2019. Like we're past the days of convincing people. Like there's no need to convince anybody of anything. Nah, there's no need to convince anybody of it. If you're convincing someone of your self-worth, you're fighting a uphill battle. If you're like, and that goes for pay, that fight, attention, affection, love, you know, qualification, desire, like everything. If you're trying to convince someone, you're fighting an uphill battle. Like you spend your time and effort on something else or someone else, somewhere else.
mhm. That's why I've been in so
Um,
many jobs the last couple of years.
listen,
I think I'm done here.
yeah,
I'm
like
out. And I'm done. I'm like, I did this already. I left a place and have a job. I got another one. It worked out. So I'm just gonna.
yeah. I think, yeah. Sorry, trigger that
I don't know.
triggered a little bit of a something, and I was like, let me not talk about that on this stream, another stream. So you're part of the FSU Black alumni group society. I'm sorry, what was the last letter?
That's it.
Oh,
FSU Black Alumni. Because
oh,
it's an extension of it's like it's a club
of the
under the umbrella
alumni.
of the
Yeah.
Alumni Association.
Okay. So you're
Yeah.
you're part of that. You're also very, very heavily involved in obviously your industry. When it comes to, kind of creating that balance between work and fun, how do you like to keep a sense of adventure, a sense of disconnecting from the world of, I mean, we all like our projects, we all love our businesses, but we all sometimes just need a disconnect from that too. How do you foster that sense of adventure for yourself? Come on now, that's the easy answer is travel. I know it's travel,
It is
Cherie.
travel. It is travel. But like this work never stops. I didn't even want to be an entrepreneur. It's not something that I ever intended, but like some things when you're like they come up and it's still considered work, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, when you asked, I thought about it. I was like, I don't always necessarily
I mean,
completely,
let's
but
be honest, right? The work never ends. And that's for anything. That would be considered escapism. I feel like when I think of like travel, right? Or I'm going to use you for example, and you can just confirm or deny what I'm saying, right? You recently went to New England. I don't even remember where you went. You were bouncing around the whole New England, all over the place, right? But like, yes, you're on travel, you're traveling, but like, I'm pretty sure there's still conversations about what's important back home. I'm pretty sure you're having conversations, like ideas are coming to you. You're with friends who are also professionals, right?
yeah,
So it's like we don't really like we don't travel. At least for myself, I think most people don't travel to escape. they just travel to disconnect, because sometimes that trip to New England inspires ideas that when you get back to Tampa, you can start executing on. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you agree with that? Like, did I nail it? I got it. Okay.
You
I
did
mean,
good.
that's how I am. Like,
Yeah.
I have to be out of Tampa at least once a month, because if I stay here, I feel like the air is just like I'm in what I'm working on, and so I never get a chance to kind of step away from it and like view it from an outside lens.
You know
Or
what? That takes me to, so in thinking about what you literally just said, I left my I left my last job after a year. And I started doing travel social work for multiple reasons. Um, I would say a piece of it was escapism
mm,
because of what I was experiencing at the time. Um, Being in a different place where there were less things that were triggering to me. Um, Being in a place that was unfamiliar, again, going into that level of discomfort, the unknown,
yeah,
I think helped me do a lot of thinking and creating of the things that came up, throughout the year and lit. Girl Talk. That was the first event that I did. Four people, three, I want to say three people showed up. It was great though. It was an awesome conversation, and it was birthed out of a need. We're talking about a lot about emotional, mental health, friendship, what's going on, conversations that we should have but that we're not having. And
yeah.
that conversation continued throughout the rest of the year, right? Which brought me to other new ideas. And now I'm doing all this traveling. What are you wearing when you travel a lot?
Me?
Sweats.
Oh, no,
Something comfortable.
I'll be
Maybe not you.
yeah, I'll
I
be
don't
fitted
know.
out.
I think it depends on where you're going, but
I'll be fitted.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand this whole outfit. No, I'm gonna wear something comfortable on the plane,
Oh,
right?
you mean on a plane? My bad. I'll be driving. Yo, I'll be in my car. So when yeah, my bad.
No,
Okay,
I'm not like, no, you get on
plane.
the plane, you're gonna go to the hotel, switch it up, change, go to the, in general.
Okay. Yes.
God,
Yeah, something comfortable.
see, this is the thought
Something
process.
comfortable. Something comfortable. I'm
But
sorry.
that's what I know. Wherever I went, I wore one of your shirts, your jacket, your whatever. People asking me questions. Where'd you get that? What's that? That's
Yeah.
cool. Especially if I'm wearing. If you think I'm dope, you should tell me. It got to the point where I always forgot what I was wearing. But
Yes.
somebody was always telling me, "Yo, I think you're dope." And I'm like, "What? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. What do you mean? I look a hot mess. I'm walking through the like I'm hungry. I'm just trying to hurry up and get something to eat before I get on the plane." But that's where, I was like, I need my own shit because while your stuff is dope, Alex,
Hey,
my
listen,
stuff is
I
lit.
will say like this. I will say like this. I think one of the best things that Tags by Marvel and Vivid Life Apparel taught me was like, number one, like my best year of merch, drop shipping, and all that stuff was 2019. Like I started the merch in September of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
September 2019 to December 2019 was the best. And then COVID hit,
Yeah.
and y'all were chasing me in the streets. Alex, where's my shirt? It's been a month. And I was just like, yo. And so for me, the one thing that I'll say that has taught me and actually just completely changed my outlook on all things is that I don't gatekeep when it comes to merch. I don't. Like I actually remember the conversation you and I had in 7th and Grove. And I feel so bad because I probably was talking your ear off that day. I
Yeah.
don't know why I was talking so much, but you pretty much heard like the gusto in my chest and the passion about like how I don't like certain kinds of t-shirts and how short guys need joggers that fit us better and all this kind of stuff. Just my passion for like, I want to have clothes that is my own. Like I want my closet to feel. And so like over time, it's just been like, yo, like it goes beyond just like the designs. It's more of like, yo, if your closet makes you feel good and dope, then it's a closet that you want. So I don't gatekeep when it comes to merch. I don't gatekeep when it comes to drop ship. It's not like I'm sewing the clothes myself. You know what I mean? All I do is just create the designs and I have somebody else do that stuff. So I'm very glad that you have your own, and without spoiling.
You inspired me, Alex. I'm gonna just tell you. I'm gonna just let you know that I remember that conversation like
Yes,
it was yesterday,
I
and that
think
is part of the reason why I reached out to you. I was like, all right, look, what shirts feel good? It's important to me too, right?
Yeah.
This is one of like 4 sweatshirts that I'm sampling right now. Because I want, if it doesn't feel good for me, then I don't know, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's to have your own, even like your own business. I know you mentioned like not wanting to be an entrepreneur. And a lot of people say that. A lot of people are just like, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. And I feel that. Like, I completely understand that. I don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur. I like to have the balance.
Yeah.
I like, you know, just to be able to like do this work and then go do the rest. But I think there is a fulfilling feeling. There's a feeling of fulfillment when you have your own. And maybe it's not your own business, but your own food. If you're growing your own food, you own your own house. She got her own car. She got her own house. She got whatever, all that. But when you, my bad, I just like went on a little tangent. She got her own house. She got her own car.
All right, don't take me back to college. All right.
But yeah, like when you have your own stuff. So for me, like I think I say it all the time. If you have a brand, you should have merch. One, because it's easier to sell than sometimes your services, and hopefully that's not the case for you.
Everybody don't want therapy, and God, it might be.
If they want a therapy shirt, my bad.
They might. Listen, when the journals first hit,
I was gonna say that.
Hotcakes.
That's what I was gonna say. I will say, as soon as you showed me you had the journal, I was like, yeah, let me get that. Like, let me get that. And it came at the right time because I'm a digital journal. I like digital journals. But I was like, let me really try to do this personal, like a physical journal, because I don't want to be in my phone as much. Like I'm really trying to, I look at the digital well-being on the Google Pixel and I'm like, bro, how am I on the phone for 11 hours a day? Like, I really don't like that. So having that was like dope. And it was just like, I looked at it and I was like, who better to have a journal though than a licensed mental health professional? Like that to me made sense. So I was like, yeah, let me get one. All right, cool. Ordered it on Amazon. It came, delivered, boom, started using it, filled it up very quickly. Very, very quickly.
No surprise there. I mean, they're still online if you need another one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get another one. I need another one. I ripped too many pages out. That's kind of where it went, where it kind of went.
I can see that.
Yeah, I ripped out being on paper is like, as soon as I make a mistake, I'm gonna tear it up and I'm gonna shred it up. But while we're here, let's open up. If y'all are tuned in, thank y'all first and foremost for hanging with us. If you're tuned in right now and want to drop questions to Cherie, we're going to open that up with the chat real quick. Y'all can ask your questions to Cherie while we kind of just keep the conversation going for a little bit. Talking about, you know, just bringing, because we're the one thing that the two of us have in common is that a lot of our work as entrepreneurs is conceptual. It's not really tangible, right? Like, until I publish a book, my brand is really just the spirit of who I am. Like, I'm Alex August. I live my real vivid life. And everything I do is some form of vivid life, everything. So I need that merch because it kind of supports that. So, and you know, There's been times where even you've been like, yeah, that does. I actually just had someone ranting and raving about one of my designs, and then I showed them more, and they were like, all right, yo, like don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy.
I also believe in staying in your lane. Like I don't sell apparel. Like I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
I got a couple of little lit statements, right? Put them on some shirts.
Yeah.
Like it, you wear it. Cool. It sells itself. It's also a talking point.
Yeah.
As well.
The hardest part of designing merch is the difference between what I like and what other people don't like. And you would be surprised that it's usually that some people like something that I absolutely hate. And I really hate that. Like, I'm like, I don't want to see that design. And oh man, it was so dope. You should put that out. And I'm like, it's trash. I don't want to put that out. Like, I can take people looking at my stuff and saying like, do you like that? I'm like, yeah, I like it. And they're like, no, I don't like it. Because I can just be like, oh, that'll just be a shirt for me. You know what I mean? Like, that'll be a shirt that I just print out and I keep it for myself. Like, I have a shirt that says mentally, I have the mentally I'm here shirts.
It's one of my favorites.
I also have mentally I'm not here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And it's just for me. It's just the planet Saturn, and it's just the text. So, to me, the easiest feedback, which I always enjoy feedback. And I feel like if you live in a world without feedback, you're living in a very dangerous world. If you live in a reality without feedback, you're living in a very dangerous reality.
It's as long as it's, you do not have to be in agreement. I think that there's a confusion with that. You don't have to be in agreement. We can have a conversation and have a different perspective, but it provokes thought.
Yes.
And when thought is provoked, you can imagine more, you can create more. Like, other things come out of that are still good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say it's a dangerous way of living because, like, to not ever get feedback means that something's wrong. Like, you stub your toe on a coffee table, you feel the pain of your toe because your nerve is sending a sign to your brain. Like, to live life and no one's ever telling you that's cool, that's not cool, that's good, that's not good. Like, you had better have such a high level of self-awareness to where you can gauge and assess yourself. Otherwise, you're kind of living in like a vacuum of just your own thoughts and thinking you're
Scary.
Right. And while I do know some people like that, I am always going to be happy and proud and say I'm not one of those people, and I welcome feedback. Sometimes feedback be the hardest pill to swallow, and I might get a little bit of, but you don't understand. Wait, you don't understand. I might get a little defensive, but
one of the things we posted the other day came from a podcast I was listening to. Adam Grant said, I'm not even going to pull it up. I'll just kind of go along the lines of, he said something, not necessarily verbatim, but around receiving feedback and like how to filter it out. And filtering it out was, okay, I got all this information from all these different people. What are the trends? Usually, if you're getting the same thing from multiple different people, especially if they don't know each other, that might be the thing you want to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm getting very introspective right now. And
that's what you're gonna take from this tonight.
It is. It's what I'm gonna take on my personal end. There's a lot to take from this conversation, a whole lot. Which, shameless plug, y'all, is going to be available as a write-up at alexaugust.com. If y'all are tuned in tonight to this stream, y'all, I'm gonna be doing this every Wednesday night at 8:30. We'll have different guests on with me, just having these casual conversations, kind of chopping it up. Some of these will be funny. Some of these will be outlandish and outrageous, and others will just be a good time and just casual conversation. But want to encourage you all to subscribe to alexaugust.com. Check out the website. I post blogs, write-ups, as well as a lot of my creative work, everything from events that I'm hosting to, possibly my next music video that will be coming up in 2024. And of course, along with that, I am doing a whole lot of premium content that is going to be coming to my website. This is still part of the shameless plug, y'all. A lot of premium content that's going to be coming to my website. This is behind the scenes content, vlogs, storytelling, and some downloadables that go along with a lot of the creative work that I do. I think, and it's the same way that I think about like merch. I think that anyone who can have a platform should have a platform. So one of the next downloadables that I'll be doing, which is going to be a free downloadable if you subscribe, is going to be a guide on how to set up this platform that I'm using currently. I am currently streaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. We could have done Instagram, but Instagram is just super complicated to do from this angle, so did not want to do that, but definitely want to get a guide going. So if you guys are interested in joining my newsletter and my mailing list and test driving what being a member looks like, I'm currently doing a free trial on my website for those memberships right now, so check that out. We also have, of course, some different pieces of information for Cherie. So I am going to be dropping that in here. Give me 1 second, including her website. Let me just get that up really quick for y'all. Her website and her socials. So if you guys are interested and want to keep up with her, definitely visit that website. And Cherie, also tell them a little bit about what your overall or overarching services look like.
So outside of therapy, mentorship, groups, support, or clinical networking opportunities. Goodness gracious, what else? This is the part where I haven't figured out exactly. So, but yeah, what's the next thing? Community events, partnering with other people, which of course is connected to networking, but like partnering with other people to create new things wherever there's a need for it is where I'm at right now. Okay. And on top of, the upcoming merch. I don't think we specifically talked about it or discussed it, but it's coming. As you can see, Stay Lit is one of the designs we're looking at dropping for you all to be lit with me.
Excited. And I definitely saw, as Jackie mentioned in the chat, the fact that you're dropping an adult coloring book.
Dog, it's dropped.
Oh, it's already out?
Yeah, it's been out.
Oh, I'm tripped.
Do you know what is in the coloring book?
I don't. Tell me.
This was an idea. I don't know where I pulled it out of my ass. Honestly, I was like, I color. It's something I do. Put my music on. I got some new color pencils, actually. It's very exciting for me, but it was something I created for other people because it's something I use that I like. I reached out, feel like I might have reached out to you, but I reached out to some close friends and I said, yo, what are some of your favorite affirmations? Things that you tell yourself. They sent me like 3, 4, 5. They're in the book.
Yeah.
It is a collection of affirmations put together by myself and my friends. So I dedicated the book to them. That was the why it was created. That's the first one, and so that's the
Okay.
first lit. It's on Amazon.
Yep. I am dropping it for you right now. This is going to be another QR code that you guys can check out, as well as a clickable link that you all can check out. So check that out. That is the link for the Lit Concepts. Let me drop it in here. The Lit Concepts adult coloring book, available on Amazon right now. I don't color, but this is a nice, definitely a nice gift idea for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrible at coloring, and I prefer to just sketch. I'm so bad at coloring. It's crazy. 100 affirmations. So
some people can't even come up with 5. It's a struggle.
Listen, I wanted to create a "It's a New Damn Day" book concept like that, and I wanted to do 365.
Oh. Well,
I got to about 25, and I was like, "All right, bro. All right, listen, I can do prompts, like I can do right." And this is why I was like, maybe I should just do a journal, and then I decided not to do a journal. But I was like, I can do a prompt, but like an affirmation, that's a lot of powerful words. And perhaps I can do one in the future when I can sit down and be more intentional with powerful words. But
remember, I told you, I don't do anything alone. That's why I reached out to my people.
Shout out to the people.
They are a part of it.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I like this idea. And I'll definitely be sharing that out. Oh, this is so cool.
If you go Instagram, it's all over there.
A lot of my bad. Go ahead.
No, that's all I got. We pushed it on there. I mean, it's out, but I think with the merchandise, it'll be a nice thing to couple together. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. I am just dropping this in. Living in Truth Counseling. We were going to definitely sorry, they're giving me a character limit. We were definitely gonna do a game, but I realized I did not want to do a game because that game was gonna involve music. And with this being our third stream, I did not want one of these platforms that we're using to kind of drop us or block us or whatever the case. So I'm gonna bypass that.
Interesting that you said that, because I kind of feel like I felt like that was coming.
Yeah, I wrote it out and I was like, dude, do I really want to play music, even if it's 10 seconds? I was like, some of these platforms are really, really strict, and I don't want to get jammed up now. I appreciate the viewership. I'm glad we didn't have any technical issues. A few times my webcam quality is a little off, but that's what happens when you live next to an airport and a hospital. But yeah, just tell everybody where they can follow you at. Obviously, I have links here. Check out this QR code. That is the Instagram page. We also have the website and the link tree there. But tell everyone where they can find your business and how to get in contact with you. Preferred methods.
There's 3 ways. You can Google my name and everything's going to pop up now. Or I have 2 social media accounts. Living in Truth Counseling is the name for both Instagram and Facebook. I don't have any other ways to locate me. And I think that's enough.
Okay. Keep the low profile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Cherie, thank you for joining me as a guest on the stream. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the intentionality on being on VividLife TV. Obviously, we'll keep in touch as we always do. Next week's stream, I don't have a guest, but it's also 2 days before my birthday. So I think I'm just going to come on cut up and just vibe for the time together. And then we have some other guests that I would love to announce, but they have not confirmed their participation yet. So that leaves us open with a whole lot of January and a whole lot of February left. So if you are interested or have anyone that you would like to recommend to be a guest on VividLife TV, definitely reach out, hit me up, let me know. We can start planning. We got available dates as soon as January 17th. So definitely keeping those lines open. Would love to have people on here, talk about life, talk about journeys, talk about, building communities and the whole nine. So I'm going to drop that QR code once again. If you're interested in subscribing to my website, checking out that free trial, I think it's 30 days. And then after that, it's just 99 cents, guys. It's like the cost of Angry Birds in 2012 if you want to join the website and get all of that dope content. If you want to jump up to the $5.99, I do have discounts. By the way, I'm just going to say it, right? This is something that I have been thinking about for a long time. And you remember, and Paul remembers, but like the Sade shirts. Remember the Sade shirts, right? Okay. Do you know that those shirts never came out because as soon as I was going to release them, my apartment got broken into? I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And they stole the Sade shirts. It's crazy. They stole them, right?
That was a dope shirt.
It was a very, very dope shirt. One of my favorites. I have an entire line of shirts that fall into that kind of design, that material, that packaging. And it's going to be called VividLife Apparel Premiere. And so it's only going to be exclusively available to a small group of people. Because I feel like that's the type of shit I want to be on in 2024. Like, who's with me is who's with me. Like I mentioned earlier, if you got to convince people, you're working too hard. It's an uphill battle. So VividLife Apparel Premiere is going to be available. The Sade shirts are coming back. A lot of alternative gear. And I just really love the branding. So if you're interested, again, that was just a little drop. Also gonna, real quick, I have to.
This guy.
I have to. Dog, I have to. VividLife sneakers. This is gonna be part of the birthday fit. Nothing crazy. But hey, man, one of the things that I realized is that I had been kind of falling off with the merch in 2023. So definitely excited to be bringing that back.
I'm glad like I never said it. I'm gonna go on there every now and then be like, I need a shirt when I go to. It's not there.
You know what happened? I could not come up with designs anymore. Like I was just like, I have hit a wall on designs. Like I'll come up with a design, like I'll think of it and I'll go sit down and try to make it a reality, and it just wouldn't look how I wanted it to look. And so I just wanted to stop. I took some time. And then also I didn't want to create more than I needed. Like everyone loves, if you think I'm dope, you should tell me. And so it's like kind of like what you said earlier about feedback. I've gotten the feedback of what's dope, shrink it down and sell what people want. So that's kind of where I'm at. I kept thinking about like, we need more. It's like, no, the Sade shirts, give me space. If you think I'm dope, the crew necks.
Yeah.
That's what people love.
That's why I'm like, we got like four designs, one of which is not my favorite, but you actually liked it. And a few other people did too. So it's not going to be the first, but it's in there. It's in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I appreciate you asking me to be a part of this. This was pretty cool. I had a good time doing it. I really appreciate everybody that showed up. Those who, we took up the latter half of their evening and essentially gave them a lullaby.
Right. Hey, that number went from what was it, 15? It went from like 15 and we were down to 4.
Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all for tuning in for real. we will connect again. I will talk offline and we'll connect again.
Yeah. Sure.
But thank you, Cherie. And for everyone that's tuned in, thank y'all for tuning in, man. And I will see y'all next Wednesday. Till then, enjoy a brief recap from my latest video on YouTube. We're out. It's like the alley from freaking Boys in the Hood.